everybody. So here we are, rap session.
Yes.
We're in session.
Yes.
Happy holidays, guys.
Happy holidays.
Merry Christmas.
Yes.
And Merry
that's
Christmas. So we were just talking about that. So let's do a little catch up real quick.
And should we
How's
tag?
everyone doing?
Should we tag ourselves or are we tagging?
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
go
we're
ahead and
tagging
tag yourself.
already.
Feel free to tag yourself.
Wait, I think it's already on
So-
that page, right?
Here we are. Is it on your page?
Yeah, let's look.
Okay.
This is the beginning where we figure this out. Hold on.
Yeah, just
You
bear with
know
us.
the drill.
Yes, it's on
Yeah.
the page because you tagged me.
Okay.
Good.
Let's-
You guys know the drill. So let's do a little catch up. Actually, before we even start, I have a little present for you guys.
Nice.
Oh.
Oh,
we
no.
talked about this. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Yes.
Merry
Now I'm
Christmas.
gonna play with this.
Merry Christmas.
For
Now you
sure.
have mine.
So we were talking one day, and someone in the group decided that was gonna rename your pet, right? It came up because you were about to give your new pet a name.
Oh, I say a lot of things. I'm not sure what I said.
And Brian suggested that he was gonna name his pet something, and then I said, well, why not Poodle? So the word poo came up, and was so inclined to get our poo all together. So each one of us have a poo. We're gonna
This is
open it.
awesome.
We're gonna unbox.
And I have no desire to play with this, so which
Oh.
lucky one of you is gonna get my hoodoo?
Give it to one of your kids.
Okay, there we go.
Give it to
So-
Johnny.
Johnny, I love it.
And here's the thing,
Merry
Emmy
Christmas, Johnny.
Emmy said that she wants nothing to do
Stop
with the
her.
poo. So I got her something else. Oh,
Squishy goo poo.
Yes.
So for her Christmas, I got her poopery. Poopery.
I actually already used that in my bathroom.
I know, I've seen it.
Yeah.
So I got her poopery.
Here,
That's
Michelle.
fantastic.
This will come in handy. I'll use it. That's so thoughtful. Oh my gosh, you guys are so good.
So this is how it's roasted. Have you tried it out before? Have you guys ever played with it?
I've never quite played with my poo before.
Actually, I learned something really interesting about wombat poo today as I was listening to a podcast with Abby.
It's not-
It doesn't
It's
smell.
wombats use their poo to attract mates. So they have
That's what I've been doing wrong.
Yes.
Got it.
They have terrible vision, but they have this keen sense of smell, and so they leave it in strategic places to let their potential mates know where they can find them.
You can
All
use
right.
that. this
So if
way.
you guys see me scooting down the streets, you know what I'm doing.
Oh my gosh. Marking your
So
territory.
Brian is using his poo to attract opposite.
do it, you gotta make it like
We'll do whatever works.
you can leave it on a chair.
Oh my
Oh wow.
gosh.
Wow. Yeah,
So-
we just became children again. This is we're choosing joy, and that's okay.
And these are poo. See how I break my poo?
But it comes back. You can put it
Oh,
together.
if your
And
poo
you
is
can put it-
segmented like that, then we have to have another conversation. We have to really work on hydration. We might need to up the fiber.
Okay.
He has a few things we have to work on. So poo tells us a
It
lot
kinda
about what's
melts when
happening
you
in the
squat
body.
it there too.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that's so disgusting, Tom. You gotta use the
Oh, it's got some of it got stuck to my pants.
It
For real though.
looks like it's running.
Okay.
So all right.
All right,
so
on to
moving
the
on.
on to the
Yeah. Sorry.
Holiday. Holiday. How's everyone doing on holidays?
I'm doing great.
Yeah.
I was listening to some Christmas songs on the way here, and I did some shopping today. I'm really excited to see my family
Yeah.
and my girlfriend. I got some gifts. I'm gonna see what she's, how that goes. Pretty cool.
You got some good gifts. I'm
Thanks.
proud of you.
Did you help?
No.
Oh wow, he did it all on his
You
own.
were shopping by yourself.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good for you.
it's called Amazon.
Okay. Okay. Is it one of those thing that you open? She's gonna open up and she's gonna say, and then close it back, put it back to the drawer.
No.
I
She's
don't
gonna
think
like
so.
those gifts. Yeah.
Okay.
No, he did a good job.
Yeah, did you buy her an Xbox for her, but really for you?
I already have it.
Gotcha. Okay.
That wouldn't work.
Okay. Emmy, what about you? You ready for a holiday?
Well, no, I'm absolutely not, but that's okay. I'm not worrying about it. I did kick off my holiday celebration today by going to the Nutcracker with Abby.
Ooh.
So I'm starting to get into the festive spirit, but I've done zero shopping. and zero planning, but that's for tomorrow.
There's always tomorrow.
There's always tomorrow. That's right. I've got a couple more tomorrows. It's been a busy month.
That's always my theory. There's always tomorrow.
That's right.
That's right.
What about you, Brian?
Oh,
What's up with you?
I can't wait for these holidays to be over. I know it sounds really Scrooge-ish, but I just think people get a little crazy around this time of the year. And
Yeah.
they want to, they put themselves into really bad situations and tensions are high. I seen a woman yesterday a pedestrian get hit by a car. And she got up, went to the driver, and started beating him through his window.
I'm sorry.
It's hilarious. I mean, I was at the red light and I couldn't believe what I was watching, but that's very normal around this time of the year. People get really stressed.
And this is very normal for you.
Oh, it is very normal.
Don't you see
Yeah,
this
no,
happen once a month?
This is normal.
I already have one question. What neighborhood were you in?
I was right here, down the street from El Segundo, right down the street here. So yeah, it was a little nuts. And
Tensions are high.
that's the thing that I
Yeah.
the intention behind the holidays of, enjoying family, enjoying these connections, enjoying your friends, really having a good time. That's fantastic. I love that. But all the stress, we can just take that out. I mean, the whole stress of people feel like they have to go spend, money they don't have on things it's just ridiculous. And tensions get really high, and that's
Yeah.
part of it. It's the inauthenticity of it all.
Yeah.
That's the part that bothers me. Yeah.
I'm kind of surprised to know, how aggressive people can be, especially around this time of the year.
For sure.
This is the time of the year where we should be feeling more joyful and more compassionate, more loving, but it doesn't feel that way. And even when I was coming here, I just couldn't believe how long it took from the east side coming to the west side. It took me I left my house at 5:30. I barely got in.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
ridiculous.
That is ridiculous.
That is
absolutely
ridiculous.
ridiculous.
And
Absolutely.
people are honking and people are just not very friendly, period.
Yeah, and that's the opposite of what we should be doing, especially
Yeah.
around this time of the year. So that's the
Yeah.
part that's it's hard to swallow, right? I mean, it's like, what the
Yeah.
hell?
Have you noticed that they're actually playing Christmas music early nowadays?
Oh,
Well, yeah, that's
God.
just the commercial of them. But I just thought of a great book if you're looking for a Christmas gift for anyone on your Christmas list to help them in these kinds of situations is The Untethered Soul.
Oh,
Right? Tom and I both
Great
happen to be
book.
listening to it right now. And it's really about just understanding who we are, and all of these other things are so pointless, in the big picture. They're meaningless. We allow ourselves to get stressed out and worried and me beating people up.
Point at me. I didn't beat someone up.
What was your story? And we just were able to he talks in the book, he talks about just let it go and lean back. And I did that, I reminded myself of that a few times on the way down here in the traffic, just let
Lean
it
back.
go.
That
Yeah,
makes-
lean
And of
back.
course, watch some of the best Christmas movies like Bad Santa.
Yes.
Oh yeah, I agree.
But Home Alone, in all seriousness, Home Alone is one of my favorites.
Is that your favorite?
Probably.
Yeah.
I was about his age when it came out. And every single time I watch that movie and they come to the back door and the BB gun goes through the dog door with the camera shot up,
Mm-hmm.
I lose it. And then when he puts the spider on his face and he screams like a girl, I'm crying.
There's that 10 minutes and stuff that whole movie, you're laughing so hard. It's so funny. Yes.
I think I really loved the first one. When the first one came out, I really enjoyed it. And then the sequel came out, and it was less and less
It's less, but
impressed.
It's always like
Yeah.
that.
But I totally agree. Untethered Soul is a great book. It's
Yes.
actually available on ebook, on Kindle. So
Audible. We're listening to it on Audible.
And it's really about dealing with the inner voice, the inner critics that we have, and all the very judgmental voices or ideas that we have that are overpowering us. So it's a great book. Loved it.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
Here's your little tip. Merry Christmas. Happy
Merry
holidays.
Christmas, happy holiday. Okay, we'll see you next year. Just kidding. Notice how we color coordinate today. We walked in, and this is not planned, by the way, guys. This is completely unplanned.
send us your $20 and you'll get your good food too.
By signing up today, you get a year supply, complimentary year supply of dog food for Poodle. Yeah, Poodle.
You can throw it at someone.
Yeah, you can throw it on the wall, you can do whatever you want with it. It's sticky, it'll stick to your wall, stick to someone's face that you hate.
Wow. Okay, this turned really quick. Wow,
Wait,
Michelle.
you were just talking about not doing that.
Remember we're talking about the aggression around the holidays?
That's right.
No one is safe. No one is safe, not even Michelle.
Oh, that's so funny.
You know, if you have to sit through that traffic for 1.5 hours, this is what you get.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get
Yeah.
it. Well, we're glad you're here.
Thank you.
Yes. We all
Thanks.
Very glad you're here.
So since it's the holidays and we're all in a happy festive spirit, we thought we'd play a little game tonight called Pass the Bowl.
Pass the bowl. Oh no.
Don't get too excited, stoners. I was trying to make a Who reference. Who am I passing to?
I know, it's not
You're
really
passing it
sure.
to me?
Spokesperson.
Yeah.
Like,
So
it starts
Michelle,
over here.
share how the game works.
So there's a number of questions that we compiled over the last 30 days, right? Because a lot of our friends actually submitted to us, and we kept posting on if you have any question. Even now, if you have any question and you're just watching and joining us, feel free to drop a line and ask a question, and we'll answer it live here. So what I'm gonna do is we're gonna pick a question from this poll, and we'll go ahead and answer them live.
Right?
How cool is that, right?
Yeah.
Very cool.
You don't get that every year. So am I picking right
Sure,
now?
you go first.
You have the bowl, so
Okay,
take it and pass it down.
all right, here, I'm gonna pass it down.
Start inhale.
So we're each taking one right now? Is that what's happening?
I guess so.
Sure, we can do that.
Oh, wow.
Well, let's just do one at a time.
Yeah.
So I have this question, what does your typical morning routine look like?
Oh, that's such a good question.
Is it for me? Am I supposed to answer
We
it?
can all,
Why don't we
we can all answer
We could
it.
just go down the line.
Yeah,
You can go first.
first.
All right, so my typical routine is that I'm a very morning person, so I wake up really early in the morning. I typically wake up around 5 o'clock. I know it's still dark outside. I typically wake up at 5 o'clock, and what I do is I have a space in my room where I do my meditation. So I spend 5-10 minutes just really quiet myself down, and I meditate for that 5 minutes. Once over that, I get up, I go to my desk, and I start journaling. I do gratitude journaling. So I write down all my thoughts. After that, I go brush my teeth, get dressed, a typical routine that every normal person would probably do, I hope. And then I will usually read a little bit. If it's not an article that's online, then typically it would be a book. I have tons of books on my nightstand, so I can just pick up and I would just read until 7 o'clock when I'm ready to have breakfast. Then it becomes more of business hour after that. I start getting to work, answering emails and all of that. So
Wow.
nice, typical morning routine.
Very cool.
Yeah.
First thing I do is put the tea kettle on to have my tea. I chant in the morning. And I believe in eating breakfast within the first 30 minutes of being awake. So whether it doesn't need to be a fully prepped meal, but some kind of food intake. So I do that. And a lot of times I wake up very early like you, but I have to leave right away. So it kind of varies. Some days when I have more time, then I start journaling and planning, or I plan out my day. But otherwise, I'm off, and sometimes I'm at the gym with a client as early as 5 a.m. So in those days, I do that after that.
Oh, you don't get up at 3:30.
But waking up before 5 a.m. is completely different than waking up at 5 a.m.
Yes.
Yes.
5 a.m. is early, but when you wake up before 5 a.m.,
Yeah,
your body is just, it's a different kind of thing.
Yeah.
So.
for sure. Well, I love this question because I think that, a morning routine is probably if you were wanting to make any changes in the new year, having some sort of morning routine, regardless of what it looks like, could be such a great thing to think about because it just really sets you up for your whole day. So I love the question. And my routine varies slightly. So there's some mornings I'm out the door earlier than others, but mine is similar to yours, Michelle. When I first wake up, I do tend to wake up about 5:30. I don't get out of bed though, but that's kind of my that's the time where I just dream. I spend like about 10 or 15 minutes when I first wake up, thinking about my vision and my dreams and where I'm going. I also go through mentally my day, planning out my day. So I'm sort of someone who wants to see something in my mind before it actually happens. So I'll actually kind of like walk through my day and kind of visualize that. I also do kind of I call it a body scan. Some mornings I wake up just feeling off, we just don't feel really great. And so I'll kind of do a scan and identify what's going on. And if there's some emotions that I need to, address or process, I'll do that. And so that's probably like the first 15 or 20 minutes of my morning. Then I do get up and I meditate and journal. And then I, stretch and do some sort of physical activity. So running is my main thing. And then I come back and I get some food in me, and I also included in my journaling is a gratitude list, gratitude practice that's super powerful. And I think that's probably about it. But, meditation, journaling, gratitude, and physical activity, and doing the whole like dreaming, positive affirmation, emotional check-in.
Yeah.
Oh, well, this
What
is
do you do?
definitely not none of that. That's all amazing, and it's very inspirational to hear you guys say that.
Brian just stay in bed.
I'm usually arguing with my alarm clock, trying to negotiate 10 more minutes. Saying, please, not today. Please, just 10 more minutes. And then preceded by fighting with my dog Onyx for the next 10 minutes or so, because he won't actually let me get out of bed because he's still hitting me, usually in the gonads. So that's a whole fight. I don't do anything before I've had my first, maybe second cup of coffee. Don't talk to me. I don't want to hear. I don't care. I really don't care. And the world could be on fire, and I do not care. So usually a cup of coffee or two. I'll shove something in my mouth while I'm there, and then that's once I've had some coffee, then I can actually think straight. And then I do the meditation. I do, much as you said, I do a body scan to make sure that what is mine. And I keep myself aware of it. If I'm hurting, I'm not feeling well, I'm aware of it, and it helps me get through the rest of my day so that I don't let that spill onto other people. But that's usually that's it. It's my morning routine is more of a morning survival than a routine.
You don't want to die when the day is just
No, I have too much to do today. So that's kind of
the day.
So
I left out my coffee, which I drink it during my breakfast. So coffee is a must.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And listen, Tom, you make me a little nervous if you're drinking tea. It makes me not want to trust you so much. I'm not sure about the whole tea thing.
Sometimes
funny,
it's coffee.
Funny you said that because I judge people who's drinking tea. I'm like, it's caffeine. So what is it about coffee that you don't like? And some people say it's the taste. The taste of it.
Not all tea has caffeine.
Like these are the people who drink.
There's a ginger and turmeric tea that is my favorite. There's no caffeine
That's
in that.
really good.
And there's a cinnamon and clove that I love too. No caffeine.
I'm quietly judging you. No, I just think what do you have that allows you to have so much energy and go about your day? Like I need the coffee. It's not. I'm a
Sleeping
complete
well
asshole.
helps.
Oh, okay. Well,
Such a good
And you
question.
wake up 5 o'clock in the morning. That also helps.
And I'll tell you what, since I've started, I meditate in the morning. I also try to meditate at night before I go to bed. And the nights I meditate, so for people who are not familiar with meditation, one of the many, many benefits of meditating is you process stress.
Yeah.
And so that's also something that we do when we sleep. And so when we are experiencing a lot of stress, our body's trying to process that through our sleep, and it prevents us from having an actually very restful, deep sleep. So if you can meditate before you go to bed, at least this has been my personal experience and many people that I know, if I meditate before I go to bed, even if just for 10 minutes, I sleep like a baby and I'm up 6 hours and I don't even need my alarm anymore. I wake up automatically. Now I'm not like hopping out of bed. Right? I'm laying there for 20 minutes dreaming about my dream life.
So,
And then I'm trying to get out of bed.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to get out of bed. I get out of bed because I enjoy my morning routine. It actually usually is.
wow.
So guys,
Exciting.
that's it.
So
That's our morning routines, and you can see we have a variety.
that's right.
Yes.
That's right. Which is great because there's no right or wrong
Mhm.
morning routine. You know, a lot of people are out there, they really promote like these are things you must do. No, you need to figure out for you what are the things that set you up for success for the day and you incorporate that into a routine and there you go. It doesn't matter what it looks like.
Yeah.
Obviously it works for you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I do start my day though when I'm drinking coffee. It's hard rock, hard, as loud as possible.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
You've never shared that.
Yeah, I love it. Like it's
Hard
like
rock?
yeah, for sure. There's like a whole playlist on Spotify. It's like whatever it is, just like the volume max.
I got some
Whatever.
stuff for you.
Oh yeah, well yeah.
I'll send it your way.
Yeah, let's try
I
it.
have that's right. You've kept that all this time.
I love it.
So that's part of the reason why I love to run is my playlist. And I swear Spotify has figured out some sort of algorithm where it knows my mood every morning because I put those earbuds in and I go for my run. And there's certain mornings where it's got to be an AC/DC run. And that's what keeps coming up on my playlist is AC/DC. And then other mornings a little more mellow. It might be like Elton John. And so, yeah, I love like the right songs pop up at the right
I
time.
think there are actually heart rate apps that sync it to Spotify so that it actually sends your heart rate and it'll pick the
Yes.
songs based on your heart rate.
Oh, I
So
know
if your
the
heart
songs,
is
that's
beating
cool.
faster, then it goes to a certain playlist versus if your heart is beating slower, if you're meditating, it'll automatically go to something that's more soothing, calming, and all that stuff.
Wow.
That's fascinating.
Now, if your heart rate
That's
is
called
high-
technology, guys.
Well, okay, that's definitely not my strong suit. But now, if your
It's
heart rate
crazy
is
talk,
high,
yeah.
I wish that they would send emails out to all of your known associates and says, "Watch out, they're in a mood today. Watch out." That would be really helpful.
The eyes are dilated and the heart is racing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Stay home, everyone.
That's right.
But I would say that it's a great idea to have some kind of routine. You know, no matter what works for you, always have to have some kind of routine because it keeps you grounded, it keeps you centered.
And you have a plan.
Yeah,
The best way to accomplish something is to have a plan for it.
yeah.
To know where you want to end up.
Well, and something that we've talked about before, I think on one of our podcasts or I mean, whatever these things are, is that, when the first hour or two, the
And
first
I got a
hour.
bunch of hearts.
I know. Oh, thanks, guys.
Yeah, thank you.
The first couple hours of your day are usually your best, right? So that's you're the most alert, you're the most creative, you're the most energized, and so why not give those first hour or two to yourself? Those are your best hours. Give them to yourself to then set you up for success for the rest of the day.
Absolutely.
I like that. I'm just going to disagree with the morning being the best hours.
That's true, because
Yeah,
not for
'cause
everyone. Not
definitely
everyone's
some
a
people
person.
are
Some
not.
people
Yeah,
are.
for sure.
That's true.
Between the hours of midnight and 3 a.m., that's prime time for me.
Really?
Yeah, everything else, not so much.
Wow.
So, yeah,
That's
You know what?
interesting.
Yes, I have a very good friend, and she's sending me emails at 2 a.m. That's when she does her work,
Mhm.
and I'm so asleep.
yeah.
My brain shuts off about 7 p.m. So you're right.
I do
That's
too.
true.
It's all depending on your particular rhythm and recognizing and honoring that. One of the worst things that I remember, now we're gonna start going on a tangent, but one of the things that used to upset me so much was, why in the hell does school start at 8
Oh,
a.m.?
I know.
Why? This makes no sense. Because that first half of my
Kids
day,
definitely aren't awake.
for sure, and then even when I was teaching at 8 a.m. I don't know what the hell I was saying before lunch. I have no clue. Like, it's just, some of us just don't work early in the morning. We just don't work. So let's recognize that.
That's true. That's
Yeah.
true. especially a lot of creative people. I do have a lot of artists friends,
Yeah.
and they do kind of come alive late at night
Oh, yeah,
when
for
they're
sure.
sleeping in, and they feel like there's something wrong with them because we live in a society that really promotes going to bed early and waking up early, and
Sure.
that's just not a part of their makeup.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's great. I'm glad you brought that up.
I'd like to have breakfast one day at noon. You know, that place that actually
You tried
serves
that out.
breakfast. You know.
There's
Yeah, I mean,
a lot of
but
places
you
that
have to-
serve, yeah.
Yeah, but it's like usually like the good ones. You get there like, oh, we stopped serving.
Yeah, at 10.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I'm not dealing with that. Anyway, so keep your restaurants open, please.
I think we beat this question to
Yeah,
death.
Yeah.
I think we did.
Yeah.
Moving
Yeah, we're
on.
not gonna be able to get through all these questions.
I know.
But that's
Yeah, because we're talkers.
good
Let's
stuff.
hear
All right, we
this.
have a bit more of a serious question
Oh, yeah.
to summarize.
Oh.
That's kind of an intense one.
Especially at the end of the year,
Mhm.
sometimes things can seem really dark. So the question here is, will it ever get better? I would say that anything can get better. If you are committed to finding a way for it to get better, it will. I would also say, remember that it didn't get to where it is now in one day. So one day isn't usually the complete turnaround, but small steps equal giant leaps over time. So if you focus on even one thing that you can change or that makes you happy each day, and you can build on that. Because going back to what I said about a plan, knowing where to start, you don't have to know all the answers right away. You just pick somewhere to start so that you begin. And it's not an ending, it's just a beginning. And then you build on that. So what do you guys have to add to that?
Yeah, I think that's great. Yeah, the one thing I can do is be empathetic, because there certainly have been times in my life where I've asked that same question, will it ever get better? And there are times when you are in such a dark place, you can't even imagine it getting better. And people will tell you, sure, it will get better, and you just can't even imagine that. And so I guess what I would just say is that I've been in that place a few times. I actually did go through a period of in my life where I was experiencing suicidal ideation, and the thought of slipping under the water and just never coming out sounded way more attractive than coming out of the water and facing life. So all I can say is I'm living proof that yes, it can get better. And if whoever is asking that question, I don't know what their situation is and I don't know what their struggle is, but if you can just trust someone who's been in a dark place more than once in their life and has asked that same question over and over again, will it ever get better? Just trust that it can get better. If you can't trust yourself or anyone else, trust me that what I'm telling you is life can actually become better than you can even imagine, because my life now is more beautiful than I ever could have imagined possible, even in the good times. So yes, it can get better, and I just want you to know, whoever asked that question, if you're listening to this, that my heart is with you. And if you want to reach out to any of us to have more of a conversation about this, we would be more than happy to chat with you and listen to you and offer whatever support we can. And please don't hesitate to ask for help, because when we're in those dark places, it can almost be we don't even have the strength to raise our hand and ask for help. And I understand that as well. So literally all you have to do is just send us a message, put an emoji in the, you know what I mean? Like just whatever you need to do to get our attention, we're here for you, and we want to help in any way possible.
Yeah, that's exactly it. That got me in the feels there. But that's beautiful. Thank you for sharing that with us. Will it get better? Of course it will. You just have to really be honest with yourself, right? And know that if you're asking this question, that something is wrong and you're in a situation where you need help, and reach out to the people that can help you. It's about being honest. You know, will it get better? Yeah, with help. So reach out, and as Amy just said, we are here to help. If anyone is in that situation, by all means, please, any one of us, we are gladly and happy here to help, 100%.
And I think knowing, asking that question, will it ever be better? A lot of us identify better to define it by, what the standard is. What is better to you is maybe it's not better for me. So, what I would encourage you is really finding and defining what does it mean to be better for you. It could mean just getting up in the morning and getting off the bed. That is already better for you. It could mean that you're picking up your car key or going to grocery shop. That would be better for you. So what do you mean by getting better? What is better look like for you? And even with the little tiny step, you're already getting to the better. So you're already becoming better. You are in that process of getting better. That better, you are that betterness. So you have to believe in yourself that you have what it takes to be better. And that's all you need. You just need to trust yourself. By us telling you that it will be better, it's really, you can't really associate it with it. It's not meaningful to you. So find something that you find meaningful with. What is it to be better? How do you identify better? How do you measure that better? It doesn't have to be a big picture. It doesn't have to be, I'm going to be finding a job tomorrow. It can be as small as just getting your car key or getting to a small step that you're taking. As long as you're moving towards something that you have your heart desire, then you are already better. You are already perfect where you are. Yeah.
I love that, and it reminded me of something else that was very helpful. Here's a tangible tool that was helpful for me when I was in those spaces. Particularly, I'm thinking about I lost a baby in 2009, and so that was definitely one of those dark moments. And it kept the idea of being grateful kept kind of showing up in my life, and that was a time where I was so angry. I didn't have anything to be grateful for, and I resisted. It was like, oh really? I'm supposed to be grateful for what? Like I was in a very angry place. But when I finally, you know how the universe works, like when you get a message multiple times, it's like, okay, well maybe there's something to this gratitude thing. And so I decided, well, okay, I didn't want the loss of my child to be in vain. So what do I need to gain from this experience and moving forward to honor her? And so it was this idea of learning to just be grateful. There is so much power in cultivating an attitude of gratitude, and it almost seems so simple that we don't want to believe the power that it can have. We're looking for some big, huge formula to get us out of a bad place, but literally just developing an attitude of gratitude can be powerful. And so the very first day I'm like, okay, I'll just give this dumb idea a try because it's not going to work, right? Like I was just, so angry and so down and so broken. And so I just kind of in my mind was kind of just like listing things that I should be grateful for. I didn't feel grateful for it, but I knew like if I was in a different place, maybe I'd feel grateful for it. So I was like, I'm grateful I have a freaking house. I'm grateful that I have food. So I wasn't even feeling grateful, but I just started like, okay, I know I should be grateful for this. I should be grateful for that. And I just kept doing that day after day. And what happened is then there was just like this softening, and the anger started to subside, and a feeling of gratitude started to increase. And once we can just, it's so powerful to turn us around, because what I discovered is that a lot of the things that we're experiencing in our life, it's just because of perspective and it's because of a mindset. So we're in a place where we think that life is hopeless, but that's right here.
Yeah.
That's our perspective, that's our perspective.
Perception.
Perception. Thank you. That's my what? And those are conditioned thoughts that we have in our minds that are creating this reality for us that are not really reality. Because actually it is something to be grateful for, to have a roof over your head and food in your stomach and a healthy body and so on. And so again, that is a very powerful tool that you can use to help you change your perception of where you're at and help you, like Michelle said, think of some things that would be small steps to help you feel better. Is just going through a gratitude practice, a very simple gratitude practice every day.
There's one of the tools I teach people is to keep track of your top 3 things. So we spoke about the routine, right? So every morning when I wake up, what I do is I keep track of my top 3 things. What are my top 3 things that I notice that I am happy for, or because sometimes people can't relate to that gratitude. Gratitude to many people is they can't relate to it. So what are some of the top 3 things that you have in your life that you feel you're content with? Maybe you're just happy that you have them. Like maybe I'm happy that I have a pen that I can write. So be that as one of your top 3 things. And as you go through your day, every time you notice something else that can replace that one of those items in top 3 things, then you go ahead and replace that and make that a number 1. Mm-hmm. So if I go through the day and I notice, oh my God, I love this cup. This cup can hold my drink. That becomes my top three things, one of my top 3 things. So then it replaces my pen. So every day you just keep 3 things that's on your list that you're happy with or you're grateful for it.
Or just appreciate.
Appreciate.
Yeah.
There you go, appreciate.
Yeah, I love
like
that.
That's cool. Yeah, I really like that. That's powerful.
Very cool. All right, moving on. Is it my turn? Oh, all right. I like this one. What's the first step in battling high blood pressure? Exercise, diet, or something else?
CBD.
Okay, well, that was one thought.
Yeah, that's
I think this is, we can all share on this, but since I read the question, I guess the first thing that I would draw attention to, and thank you for this question, this is a great question, and I appreciate it. I would just draw attention to the words that, our words are powerful. Words carry energy. And so when we're using words like battling, for instance, when we're talking about high blood pressure, that sends a vibration that makes it feel like it's an actual battle, right? And so I would just draw attention to that maybe the first step in battling high blood pressure would be to change that word, because that makes it feel like it's a bigger challenge than it necessarily needs to be, right? So maybe it just needs to be, what's the first step in lowering your blood pressure? How does that feel? Does that feel a little different than battling high blood pressure?
Because it doesn't feel fighting. It's not fighting.
Right. It's just something that we're experiencing and we want to change versus like, I'm battling this,
You're not fighting your body. Your body's not bad.
Ooh.
Yeah. Oh, I love that.
You better
We
say
need
it
to
again
quote
a little
that.
louder. Did you guys all hear that?
You're never fighting your body. Your body doesn't do things. It isn't an enemy of yours.
Right.
So there are things that are symptoms of whether your emotional alignment, your physical alignment, spiritual, or all 3. So you can take steps there. But yeah, high blood pressure is a symptom. So it's a symptom of what? Find out what's causing it to be high.
Yeah.
And then you start there.
Which is a great, because some people are experiencing high blood pressure because it is a diet related. Some are experiencing it because it's a lifestyle. They're having high stress, and so would exercise and diet help? Absolutely, no matter what the situation is. But you need to start with identifying what's the cause.
Yeah. No, I think that's exactly it. It's how do you, again, removing the word battling, of course, is brilliant. And it's, how to lower high blood pressure? Well, it's finding out what's the cause of it. And then again, it's being honest with yourself, and then addressing those things honestly, and seeking the help appropriately for what you need. Absolutely.
So for me, I see different perspective just by looking at the question. Because the question is what is the best step to battling high blood pressure? And then there's exercise ? And diet ? Or something else. And when you put question mark under at the exercise and diet, my thought immediately I jump into, okay, so it sounds like that you know what you can do to lower your blood pressure already, right? So what is it about the exercise and diet that you are not doing or not really putting into action? And there's so many studies, well, this is coming from a medical background now, there's so many studies that shows exercise and diet are actually the first step in lowering blood pressure, and those are actually proven to lower blood pressure. And a lot of physicians and doctors, they actually encourage patients to do exercise and diet. So the fact that there's question marks next to the diet and exercise, it makes me wonder, like what is that person is really saying behind it,
Interesting.
right?
Why have they allowed themselves to have high blood pressure?
Right. So if you're keeping a modifying lifestyle, then your blood pressure, because if you think about it, the way that you have high blood pressure is because through aging, our vessels start to kind of aging with us appropriately. So it's not pumping, the elasticity of the blood vessels start to deteriorate, and so it's not pumping blood at an efficient rate. And that's how the high blood pressure start to come in. But with diet and exercise, if you're doing lifestyle modification, you can actually slow that progression to a much slower rate. So what is it about the exercise and diet that you are not, entirely motivated?
That's super powerful, Michelle, because a lot of times that is how it is when we have a challenge. We kind of miss the boat, or the questions that we're asking only get us like a surface level answer. So, exercise, diet, well, yes, exercise and diet will help. So really there's a
deeper question that they're not asking.
Why is it that knowing that exercise and diet will help, what's the challenge to actually implement a diet and exercise routine that will lower blood pressure?
Yeah. So what is your question? What is your real question?
Yeah.
Well, it can be addicting to like seek answers and from different sources.
Yeah.
Personal development is a great example. People do it, and rather than taking action and making the change that they have to do.
And I think there's a psychological thing behind it, because when you're in the place where you think that we are broken, and I used to do this all the time because I went through that self-help and self-development, because I thought that I was in a place of what's wrong with me. There's something wrong with me. I'm broken, so I have to find ways to fix myself. And when you have that mentality of going around and fixing yourself, you tend to start looking outside of external me and see how I can patch up all the holes in me and fix myself. And you always feel broken.
Yep.
So what we're saying here is that we need to push that away, turn that away, and we really need to start working on, there's nothing wrong with you. They're not broken. You are a whole. There's nothing wrong, and you are not broken, and therefore you have all the power that you need to do the exercise, to do the diet, to lower the blood pressure.
And to bring that back to the body, your body is an amazing thing. It has everything, every ability to be as healthy as possible.
Yep.
Yay.
100%.
Love it.
Okay.
Love it.
I probably gotta go after this one.
Okay. All right. So this question here is, how do I stop myself from giving too much?
Oh, wow.
That's interesting. All right. So when I'm looking at this from my perspective, from the spiritual perspective, when we give too much, it's usually a deficiency in the heart chakra. So there's not enough fire here. So you're trying to overcompensate by giving too much. So this will be things like I'll paint a quick picture is you'll have someone who is always taking care of a stray animal, who is always has, they're volunteering way too much. They're neglecting their lives because they're still trying to do too much. They're trying to ignite this fire, right? And the problem here is they're giving too much, and it's actually to their detriment. So it's a very common problem. I see this a lot, but it's something about really being honest with yourself and really looking at what does the typical person do in this scenario. Look at that. So this is something like if someone asks you to come to the party and you say, what can I bring? And they ask you to bring chips. And you bring chips, salsa, fresh homemade guacamole, and you bring the whole thing, we've got a problem.
No, we don't.
Yeah.
The fresh guacamole, no problem. Come over.
Well, it sounds great for people who are receiving it, but the person who's doing it feels the need to give too much.
Yes.
And so it's not being generous, it's going to something else. They're giving too much and it's actually going to feed and foster resentment. So it's about understanding if someone else is asked to bring chips to the party, what do they bring? Chips. That's what they bring, right? And that's something about recognizing if you are having this issue, if you recognize that you are someone who gives too much, think about what would someone else in your exact same position do and use that as kind of a model for your behavior, especially someone you respect, obviously. But because you are giving too much and you're just fostering resentment. That's all you're really doing.
I want to jump on that because I have a tendency and I have history of people telling me that, Michelle, you're giving too much. And I have, I've been to a situation where the other person would actually directly tell me, Michelle, this is too much. You need to keep some for yourself. But to me, from my perspective, I don't feel that I'm like giving too much. I think it's a matter of perspective again. It's how you look at, what is too much. And if we keep pouring, there's a difference between setting up your boundary versus, just giving it out freely and you feel drained, right? That energy is completely different. When you give out too much because it's your natural tendency, it's who you are, you have that overflowing feeling for all humanity and you're just willing to give to the other person, then I don't see why not to give too much. I don't really see the idea of what is wrong for being too much. And when Emmy said, well, why not salsa and all the pizza and party, I'm all for it.
Because a lot of people are doing it hoping that they're going to get recognition or acknowledgement or some kind of something in return. You're selfless, and that's different.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Other
again,
people
perspective.
he's talking about compensating. And I like what you said too. It's like, well, who's determined what's too much? Is this your idea? Like you've come up with this? Or has someone told you that? And you can, like you said, you can decide it's not too much by my book, so I'm just cool with it. Or if it is that you're trying to compensate for something, then you deal with that.
Yeah.
That's what I was just going to say is let's define too much. There's nothing wrong with being a giving person, and actually all very giving. Yes, it's when too much is when it's to your detriment. When you are not taking care of yourself and you're doing too much, meaning you're taking care of everyone around you, and you are suffering because of it, and which leads to resentment and the things that Brian was saying.
Yeah.
So there's nothing wrong with being a giving person. You just need to make sure that you are taking care of yourself and that you are doing it with no expectation. Because I agree with, speaking from personal experience, we do too much because we're trying to get something in return, and that never goes well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I completely agree with that.
Yep.
Yeah.
So boundaries. There's the
Boundaries.
quick question or quick answer.
Yep.
Okay.
Healthy
So-
boundaries.
Today is last rep session for the year
And the decade.
and the decade. So this is what I learned yesterday. 2020 is the year of perfect vision.
I heard that too. 2020. Yeah.
2020 is the year of perfect vision. So what is your vision? Start with Brian.
My vision for myself, or
Yeah,
for
for yourself.
myself. Oh, to really, this is gonna be difficult because I don't want to. Well, fuck it, I'm gonna say to be a badass motherfucker. That's what it is. That's honestly it. I noticed that something that doing healing work throughout the last 16 years is really made me really kind and soft and nice to people. And the truth of the matter is sometimes it gets a little old. So letting you guys know right now, badass motherfucker coming your way. I'm gonna start calling people out on the bullshit. I'm sorry. I thought I did already, but it's
Not enough?
not enough.
No,
When I get the same question over and over and over again,
Yeah.
enough. You're gonna get cussed out.
Mm.
With love.
With love.
Yeah.
Love it. Amy?
Can't wait to see that. Well, there's just some great momentum going. 2019, some exciting things have happened, and I just plan to build on that. So 2020 will just keep that going. Personally, personal life, business life, home life. It's gonna be a big year. Actually, I'm really excited.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yay.
It's gonna be a big year for me too, but I haven't finished putting together my vision.
Okay.
I'm
Yeah,
not
that's
ready
true.
to share it,
That's true.
but I did begin. Part of it is to be a badass motherfucker too. But yeah, to continue to grow and
We have
make
to.
make my life even better than it already is.
Love it. We have two bad mothers.
And Michelle and I also are gonna be better.
No.
Don't
So-
judge us for using that language, John.
So my vision, I was just having a conversation earlier today with someone. My vision for 2020 is that I am going to be standing in auditorium, and the room is going to be filled with audience and people. I'm gonna be on the stage with my team. I have social media manager, I have makeup, I have copywriter, I have a whole team of people working behind me to support me so that I can be a public speaker.
There you go.
That's
And we'll
beautiful.
be in the audience.
That's
cheering you
right.
on.
I know
We
you
got
will.
you.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do it without you. I couldn't do it
I
without
could
you.
try to do your makeup, but it probably won't go so well.
No, I wouldn't want you to do my makeup. Okay, just stay where you are and just keep playing with your shit.
You can't do the makeup?
Okay.
All right, so that's a wrap.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's a wrap.
Happy holidays.
Happy
Happy holidays.
holidays!
Bye-bye.